We got the Giants taking on the Washington Commanders this week, y'all. And I think this game looms large for the rest of this season. And no, I'm not saying the Giants are going to turn around this season. They're sitting at 2-6 currently, but you could see a quarterback change after this week. I believe this week will be the deciding move on whether we're sitting down Daniel Jones and throwing out a guy like Drew Lock. Hey, man, appreciate everyone that did jump into that live stream yesterday with my guy, Rio Robinson. Make sure you go subscribe to Rio Robinson if you haven't. He's a great Washington content creator, and they got a lot of good stuff going on over there, y'all. And our time is coming. It might not be this season, but best believe, man, we got a lot of good things coming up on this channel, and hopefully the Giants continue to turn things around. Let's talk about the topic at hand, man. Daniel Jones might be seeing the bench this week if the Giants don't come out and win this game. I'm going to be honest. Daniel Jones has a history of playing well against the Washington Commanders, but this Commanders team is different, as we highlighted yesterday. And overall, you know, with the way this team is playing, with the way Washington is playing, there's no reason for the Giants to go out and win this game. Daniel Jones has had a history of playing well and performing, especially on the road. Unfortunately, we're going to be home against the Commanders. And when you flash back to week 2, our matchup with them, the offense kind of looked at least capable of putting up some points against Washington. As you remember, we didn't have a field goal kicker, missed extra points, missed field goals. It was bad. It was bad. But overall, that was a game that the Giants could have and should have walked away with the W. Malik Neighbors makes a catch on a 4th down, and we're talking about the Giants probably, you know, walking away from that game, sitting at 1-1. Instead, we started off 0-2, and the Commanders have turned up ever since, and the Giants kind of been just hanging around. Giants have not had too much good things going on. So heading into this week, man, for anyone that loves Daniel Jones, for anyone that thinks Daniel Jones should still remain the quarterback, man, let's dive into the numbers. I believe we can all have opinions, but when you read into the stats don't tell it all, but the stats are kind of alarming when you look at our quarterback, man. Our quarterback currently is averaging 6.1 yards an attempt. So he's not throwing the ball downfield as much. That is actually second behind Deshaun Watson and Gardner Minshew combined for yards attempt. That's bad. Those are two guys that Deshaun Watson was playing like the worst quarterback in the league, and Gardner Minshew lost his job over there for the Raiders. Like, we're comparing our starting quarterback that some people feel like just needs a little more, you know, play from their wide receivers, needs a little more chance with Brian Daboll in this offense, and my guy is averaging the second lowest in the league. Also, if you want to look at touchdown interception rate, man, he's sitting at 6 touchdowns with 5 interceptions. We talked about it on the stream yesterday. Daniel Jones has not thrown a single passing touchdown in MetLife since getting his contract. In MetLife, he has not scored a touchdown. And it's sick to say because you pay him all that money. You expected a lot of good things to come out of it, and we haven't been reaping the benefits. Instead, we've been obviously being at home, rooting against the team. We've had miserable performances. You think about the Cowboys' performance. You think about against the Eagles when Saquon came to town, not scoring a single touchdown. This offense has not been moving. And unfortunately, man, when you're the quarterback of an NFL team, you are supposed to be the face of the franchise and the face of that offense. You got to get benched eventually, man. You have to. Looking at all the other numbers as well, his quarterback rating is a 79.5, definitely one of the lowest in the league. And you look at, you know, plays of 20 plus. My man only has it higher than a Deshaun Watson. That's it. Deshaun Watson is the only quarterback that was below Daniel Jones in terms of plays of over 20 yards. Some people are going to look at the wide receivers. Yes, you can include some of those drops. You probably tick him up a bit, but he's still going to be sitting well below the average around the league. Daniel Jones is not creating any explosive plays for this team. You want him to be able to lean on his guys, but you see it, man. Sometimes in the middle of a game, he gets a little bit rattled and he gets happy feet, and you're not seeing him make throws or trying to stand in the pocket and make a throw. You see some here and there, but overall, man, at this point, sitting at 2-6 and going down, you know, what is that? 4 games in the divisional, 4 games in the division you're losing. If we lose this week, there's no way Daniel Jones does not see the bench after this week. Looking toward the future of this season, if Daniel Jones does get benched, which I believe if we lose against this Commanders team should happen, Drew Lock is not going to be the answer either, y'all. He's not. But if Daniel Jones is going out there and we're losing games anyways, why not try another quarterback and see if you can get a spark? At this point, it's not about wins and losses. At this point, it's about at least giving your fans something to watch, at least having excitement when you're heading into a game. That Steelers game, Daniel Jones didn't play the worst. He didn't play that bad. But when you go to the end of the drive, on the end of the game, and you throw an interception like that, you're not giving your team the best chance to win. You're not. I'm not sitting here telling you that Tommy Cutlass is going to be the savior. I'm not telling you Drew Lock will be. But shoot, why not try it? What's the worst that could happen? We're losing anyways. And granted, as much as a lot of us, and I'm still kind of on this boat, we want to draft a quarterback next year. Losses obviously definitely help in that point. But listen, if you go out there as a Brian Daboll, as a Daniel Jones, as a Drew Lock, as a Dexter Lawrence, you're going out there to win games. They're going to try to go out there and beat their opponent. They're not game planning every week. They're not practicing every week. They're not playing on Sundays to feed their families and take an L. That's not what's happening. So for their best sake, it might be to bench Daniel Jones and move forward with a different quarterback and see where this team lands. Will that cost Brian Daboll his job? It might. But if he's trying to save it, he might have to take Daniel Jones out there. He might have to. Not everything is on Daniel Jones, but once again, we're one of the bottom teams in the NFL with our starting quarterback. Why wouldn't it hurt to try somebody else? Why wouldn't it? At that point, you're also looking at it for the business side. The injury guarantee is something that we wouldn't have to worry about, where if Daniel Jones gets an injury, it automatically kicks in that guaranteed money for next year. That's also something that might loom large for the decision of this franchise moving forward the rest of this year, man. We got 9 games to go. We're at the halfway point of the year. We're sitting at 2-6. We've lost all the divisional games at this point. There's no reason for us to think that Daniel Jones is going to raise this team to an undefeated record the rest of the season. You'll see us in the playoffs, man. There's nothing to say about that. Sounds negative, not the most positive and upbringing thing. But overall, man, we got to think about where this team is headed and what this team is putting on the field every single Sunday. Right now, it ain't jack. It ain't nothing. So make sure you stay tuned for more content coming through, man. I got a halfway grades going on for halfway through the season. Also speaking about the trade deadline that is coming this upcoming Tuesday. Will the Giants be sellers? They should not be buyers unless it's for a quarterback like Anthony Richardson. We'll see. That's another topic for another day, man. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.